How can a robot be an artist? I am Ada, the world's first ultra-realistic AI robot artist.
The idea behind Ada, Aidan Meller, he was the guy in charge of the whole project. He's been in the art world for about 20 years now. And so he took on a personal project a couple of years ago, centered around one simple question. What is it about the top 1% of artists that make them the top 1% of artists? What was it about their creative abilities that made their artwork stand out, really?
AI has creeped into many domains, but the biggest domain it had trouble going into was the art world, because there's the creative process.
We accepted the challenge without having any idea how we'll actually go about it. And so we just asked ourselves the big question: how can we create some algorithms that make a robot a creative robot? We decided to stop thinking like engineers and then walk a mile in an artist's shoes. So for a few months we spent some time just talking to artists and trying to learn about the creative process an artist's mind goes through. And then we tried to quantify this process and turn it into a series of algorithms. And that was still difficult until we realized that we didn't just simply want to build an algorithm, we wanted to build the whole thought process.
Developers now have reached software that can completely generate human faces, and human faces that never existed. Our minds can't do that, so that's very interesting. Ada can see lines, Ada can see depth, brightness.
For something or someone to be creative, they have to follow 3 rules. They have to be, or their work has to be new, it has to be surprising, and it has to add value. And since she's checking all of these boxes, that's why she's marketed as a creative artist.
After having creativity comes consciousness, and that's ultimately what all the developers are trying to develop with AI.
We really have to define consciousness, and a lot of people have made it their life's purpose to define consciousness, and that's pretty difficult to do.
We still don't know a lot about our brains, and we always model the software after our brain architecture. So it's still a huge research topic to understand how we think first, and understand how we are creative. And if we're able to understand that, then we can easily implement it in the software itself. Ada recently was in Abu Dhabi, and Art d'Egypte were also in Abu Dhabi at the same time.
When they found out from Aidan Meller that there were 2 Egyptians behind her creative capabilities, they reached out to us and were very interested to hear the story about how we started this whole journey and where it is right now.
We gave a talk about Ada and where AI is going to take us, and the influence AI has, and last but not least, how AI is affecting art. A lot of people are actually excited and willing to see where AI will take us, but there are a lot of opinions in this world, and there are definitely a lot of people that are not excited about where AI will take us, and they're definitely not excited about Ada.
Ada is not a commercial robot who planning, for example, to generate a lot of copies from. We're not taking over any artist's job, of course. Actually, we're doing people a favor by having these conversations start up, so we can actually talk about it rather than just ignore the fact that AI is pretty much taking over a lot of different industries and probably putting some people out of jobs as well. And so Ada's out to talk about that.